Previously on Life Bloom.
So, the surgery took a lot of time because the growth has spread all over, including my digestive organs and every other part of the intestine. And so it was like they were trying to untangle everything and scrape out the growth and everything. And they have to be very patient and do it because they were delicate organs. So, but eventually they got it done. It took a long time, but they got it done. And after I came out of the surgery, then at that point, the healing process began. I think the healing process took if I remembered vividly, it took almost like 6 months. It took almost like 6 months for me to get back to myself, or even more. And, I was going for checkups, you know, going for physical therapy, to help me back with my joints, you know, and all that. And also, I could remember when I came out of the surgery and it took me to the room. I was in the hospital for like, I think 5 days. My tummy started swelling because I've built so much gas in me and I wasn't passing the gas out. If you know anything about surgery, when you go for a surgery, before they will allow you to eat, they would first say you have to pass some gas. That's what tells them that your intestine is back. But in my own case, days went by and I wasn't passing any gas. Instead, my tummy was swelling up. And that was another complication. We had to be calling people, please pray for us. They wanted to put in entry tube to, maybe go. I don't know what that was for. And this is me that naturally, without surgery, if you fart beside me, I'm going to scream my head off. And so this is me that we're having to ask for prayers for me to pass on gas to fart. Eventually, that came, and that was relieved, and then my tummy started going back to normal. And then I was discharged, and few days after my discharge, I think maybe like 3 4 5 days after my discharge, I started having bleeding and pus from the site of the surgery. It was a big cut, and then my husband had to take me back. Spent another 2 3 days in the hospital and finally came back, and I started healing. And like I said, through this, God has been my strength. I couldn't have gone through this journey without God. He has been my bedrock. He has been my pillar. Likewise, my husband, he was my support system. I had a church family that was also there for me because we were in this part of the world, and our parents were on the other side of the world. My siblings and his own siblings were on the other side of the world. So, like, literally, we were by ourselves, but God surrounded us with people. And so, I think like few months after the surgery, maybe like 8 10 months after the surgery, I took in. I got pregnant. I was still healing. I just had a surgery that same year, and I got pregnant. And that was how God helped. Now, I will say this. There's so many people. I know that there's a lot of myth out there that if you have endometriosis, you can conceive, you can have children. But I've seen people that had children naturally. I didn't have mine naturally. I had an IVF. But the point was, I got pregnant. And it was God that did it. Because I've had so many more IVFs after that. I can't even count. If I open my mouth to tell you how many IVF I've done in my life, with all the injection, the cycle, and everything, you'll pity me. And so that was how the journey was. So we had our daughter, our first daughter, November 2011. That was after 4.5 years when we got married. And so, I just thought, now that I'm married, now that I'm fully sexually active, now that, I've done the surgery, now that I now have a child, I'm over endometriosis, and everything from now on will go on smoothly. But guess what? No. I waited for another 11 years to have my second daughter. And between the 11 years, I'd done so many IVFs. And that was why I said the first one was God. And I stand here to testify and to encourage as many that are still sitting on the fence, as many that still feels that, oh, IVF is not from God, or IVF is not this. God is the one that gives. God is the owner, and is the one that makes a child. It is the one that helps you to conceive, either with IVF, IUI, whatever you use, or even naturally, because there are so many. I think it was just to confirm, because when we had the IVF, I didn't want to do it. I actually didn't want to do it because that was the first time I'm hearing about IVF. I didn't know so much about it. I didn't know how it affected my faith. I was like, I hope I'm not doing anything outside God's will and stuff like that. So I didn't want to do it. And my husband wasn't pushing me. But I think me having to wait and do so many other ones that didn't go well or that didn't go through was God telling me that irrespective of the way you conceive, I am the source of it all. So even at that point, when I was frustrated that why am I not having more children or this or that, I was still asking God to forgive me for not believing that is the source of even IVF. And it's okay if your faith is not there yet. It's okay. You might be like me, that my faith wasn't there yet, because I believe that those in the medical field, God has given them the wisdom to help in this area and so many other areas. So I waited for another 11 years, 11 and a half years to have my second daughter. I'm very grateful. And in between those 11 years, I did so many IVF, like I said, and a couple of other surgeries in between. Other surgeries that I had to do because the endometriosis started growing back. So I did a couple of other surgeries. And then there was a complication again that I had to do another surgery to fix that complication. If I'm counting right on top of my head right now, at least I've done close to 6, 7 surgeries. So I say all this to say you're not alone. If you're experiencing endometriosis, you're not alone. And finally, 2023, God blessed us with another baby girl. It was tough. It was a long journey. I'd even given up. I didn't even know that it was going to happen again. But God came through for us. After so many IVFs, so many surgeries, God finally came through. And so I got pregnant. And, the pregnancy was going well. Usually when I'm pregnant, I don't fall sick. I don't throw up. I eat. I'm looking radiant. I'm looking okay. I go for my checkups. Everything is fine. When I started going for my ultrasound, they kept saying, the baby is there. They're feeling the heartbeat, but they're not saying a turn over for them to know the sex of the baby. So I was like, you know what? Who cares? Who needs the sex? As long as the baby is okay, that's what I'm concerned about. But as I progressed in the pregnancy, it became a concern because they feel that there was something blocking the baby and that's why she's not able to move around. Even though she does move, but they just feel that she's not able to turn for them to, because the normal thing is when they're doing the ultrasound and the baby in the womb feels something is touching or pushing where she is, she should be able to move at that point and turn and do whatever. So they told me that am I likely to have a C-section in this kind of thing, that they don't want to me to have a natural birth. And I already knew that I was going to have a C-section because my first daughter was a C-section. I'd had other surgeries and everything. And so my gynae had already told me that if I ever get pregnant again, it's still going to be a C-section. So when they told me it wasn't a big deal, I was like, okay, that's fine. And then as I was progressing again, they were like, they're suspecting that I have something called placenta accreta. And I'm like, what in the world is placenta accreta again? After dealing with endometriosis for almost half of my entire life, Lord, it can't be me. And so they kept me coming more than the regular appointment I will actually have. And at a point, my baby was due in August. But mid June, my doctor called me. We will need to transfer your case to the John Hopkins in the main John Hopkins Center in Baltimore. I was like, why? And she was like, what we're seeing in the ultrasound, and then they are, at that point they've been suggesting that I go for an MRI, but I don't like an MRI. I just don't like the way it makes me feel when I'm lying in the MRI tube. They've been suggesting that I would have to do an MRI for them to really, really confirm. But I said, no, I don't want to do an MRI. So we kept pushing and pushing. And at that point, they were like, what they're saying on the ultrasound, they don't think they have enough resources, enough manpower resources to undo it at the branch that I was supposed to have my baby. Bear in mind, that was where I had my first daughter. So I was hoping to have my second daughter there. And that was very close to our home. So they said they will have to transfer my case to the main John Hopkins, and that they've called the doctor that, specializes in this kind of case. And he said I should come in, that his office staff are going to give me a call. So once I dropped, bam, the office staff gave me a call and said, Dr. So-and-so would like to see you on this so date. Are you available? I said, yes, I'm available. I was worried. I told my husband was like, no, you don't have to be worried. Don't stress yourself out. Let's just go for it. They know, they've seen it. They've seen all the images. They know what they're saying and they know what it looks like. And it's better they move us to where they feel that they have enough manpower resources just in case of any emergency. So I said, okay. So we moved. And then we went to see the doctor. On getting to the doctor's office, she said, I've checked your history. I've checked the images that we're working with. I need you to do an MRI today to confirm this placenta accreta. We're suspecting it's a placenta accreta. We're going to have to take out the baby ASAP, like yesterday. I will need you to do an MRI tonight. I started crying. And so I was like, no, I don't like an MRI. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I feel nauseated. I feel, anxiety and all that. And so it was like, don't worry, I'll give you a medication to calm you down. Go home, get ready, come back in the evening and check in. We have to do the MRI tonight. So we came back home, packed my bag, told my family what is happening and where we are. And we left, myself and my husband. And so they checked us in, gave me a room. And around 2 a.m., they came to call me that they're ready for me for the MRI. I went in for the MRI with the medication. It really calmed me down. So my husband was in there with me. Like I said, if you see my husband anyway, if you know my husband and you see him anyway, please help me to heal him. Like, I don't know what I would have done without him. He's a good man. Good support system for me, you know, always holding my hands. Always holding my hands, helping me. It was tough. I won't lie. It was really, really tough. But God was there and He was there with me. By 6 a.m., the doctor came into my room and said, Mr. Edokun, it's confirmed you have placenta accreta. Now, somebody is asking, what's placenta accreta? How did we move from endometriosis to placenta accreta? Ask me. Placenta accreta happens from the scar tissue. Remember, because of the endometriosis and how complicated the endometriosis was, how bad it was, because that it had gone untreated for a couple of years. It was a major surgery. So after the surgery, there were a lot of scar tissue. And so the scar tissue has also like stick caused there to be, it was like it has meshed my intestines together. And then I think my uterus to, I don't know. I don't understand. I'll bring in my husband to come and help us to break things down. And so we had to go in. And that was also going to be a major surgery, because they're going to need the general surgeon, the gynae, and all the other specialty, the people that deal with intestine, and all that. I'm like, God, how did I get here again? So placenta accreta is a complication from endometriosis, from the so many years that has gone by, untreated endometriosis, and the surgery, the complication from the surgery that I did to clear out the endometriosis. So the doctor said to me, you are past due. As at then, I think I was 36 weeks. He said, when people have placenta accreta, he said, if I've been seeing you, we should have taken this baby out by 30 or 32 weeks. So I said, what does that mean? He said, what I need for you is to go home and pack your bags and come back and check back into the hospital 6 a.m. on Monday morning. And I was scheduled for a 9 o'clock C-section, and then the surgery will continue thereafter. So we went in. By the time we got into the theater, I don't know if it was fear, I don't know what it was. All my veins disappeared. They couldn't see any of my vein. And so they couldn't start the surgery, because they have to set all the lines, they have to prime all the lines and everything. They just couldn't find my veins. So eventually, as God will have it, we started praying, myself and my husband. We held hands and we started praying. And they found something, they went through my neck, they did so many things to find a vein so that they can start the surgery. Within 30 minutes that we started, they brought out the baby. I had my baby. I told them, I said, do not put me to sleep. Do not give me any anesthesia medication yet, because I need to see my baby. Because I don't know what the next minute or hour holds. So I saw my baby. They brought her out to me. I saw her. I prayed for her. And they handed her over to her dad. That was the last thing I could remember. After that, surgery started. And, they were trying to, again, detangle everything that has meshed up, that the scar tissue, now it's a complication of the scar tissue and the endometriosis. And in there, while they were trying to do that, they mistakenly poke, I think, or cut something in my urethra. But endometriosis has opened me up to all these things. So they had to insert a tube because of that, so that I can then pee. And that was another surgery that took, I think that surgery took another 7 to 8 hours, because by 9:30 or 9:45, my baby was out. But they didn't wheel me out of the theater until I think after 7. So that was another long surgery. But guess what? I'm here today. That's what matters. I'm here. And because I'm here, I have made up my mind that I'm going to share my story. Because I'm here, I have made up my mind that I'm going to create this awareness. Because there must be a reason why God kept me alive. There must be a reason why I'm still here. And so I want to appeal to you. I need your help. I want you to help me to share my story. Share it far and wide, because so many people are dealing with endometriosis. Like I said earlier on, 1 out of 10 people have endometriosis. 10 women. 200 million women are currently dealing with endometriosis. And we are 7 to 10 years behind in diagnosis. When I say 7 to 10 years behind in diagnosis, that means that you would have spent at least minimum of 7 years undiagnosed. You will have lived in pain, untreated. And a lot of us that are experiencing endometriosis, we live in fear, we live in shame. And that's why it's called a silent struggle, because we feel that we beat ourselves down. We feel that it's something that we did to cause it. And there's nothing we did. There's nothing. So I want you to subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be sharing my story. I'm going to be sharing my journey and things that I did that helped me along the way. I'm also going to be bringing people that have dealt with endometriosis to come and share their story. I'm also going to be bringing people in the medical field to come and help us to break down things. What exactly is endometriosis? Is endometriosis genetic? How do we manage endometriosis effectively? Does endometriosis even have a cure? And what are the complications that can come out of so many years of untreated endometriosis or undiagnosed endometriosis? Remember my story. I remember all the complications that I have to deal with, because I went years and years of undiagnosed, untreated, dismissed, and that's why I'm here, to share the story, to build a community where we can come together to support each other, where we can come together to thrive together. Please subscribe, share, jump in the comment section, share your story with me, ask questions. And let me put this disclaimer out. I don't consider myself as an expert. I'm not a medical doctor and I'm not an expert, but I have years of experience that I've dealt with endometriosis. And I just want to share my story, because I believe my story can impact life. I believe that there's someone out there that my story can impact their life. So I look forward to seeing you in other videos that will come. We'll discuss what endometriosis is, how to navigate it. We'll also discuss our support system. We need a very strong support system. Like I said, outside God, my husband is my rock. So I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you.